The 7 things you should be talking about today. Number 7.
You know, I never really wanted to be a police officer before, but it sounds awesome to be a Huntsville Police Department officer, because those guys, they were wilding out. Yeah, listen to all the stuff that was missing. 216 grams of methamphetamine, 0.5 grams of heroin, 67 oxycodone pills, a 25 caliber handgun, 30 undocumented firearms. Sounds like a hell of a party. This is all following an investigation sparked by dispatcher Chris Willingham's overdose death, which Crocker linked to the room's unfettered access via a broomstick through a wall hole. So people were just stealing stuff out of the evidence locker. Good Lord. Poor record keeping and security. This is real serious stuff here, as light as I may be making it. This is a big problem, and the Coleman County District Attorney, Champ Crocker, appears to be going hard, as he should here.
Number 6.
In a significant shift after U.S. and Ukraine talks in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Ukraine endorsed an immediate 30-day ceasefire with Russia. This is what's been proposed by the U.S., exceeding Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's prior sea and sky truce suggestion, with Secretary of State Marco Rubio pressing Russia to reciprocate as the U.S. lifts its aid and intelligence freeze, meaning Zelensky has come around on the idea that he wants peace, and now we're going to help him be in a better position. The deal emerging from the first formal meeting since the Trump-Zelensky White House fallout sets the stage for urgent peace negotiations, with Trump hopeful for Russian agreement in days, while Ukrainian's leader Vladimir Zelensky obviously insists Moscow must prove its intent to end the war that's claimed 20% of U.S. or Ukrainian territory.
Number 5.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford announced Tuesday that he was pausing a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the United States as he bent the knee after a productive call with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who committed to trade talks in Washington on Thursday alongside U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer as they try to revisit the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal. They're trying to figure out how to do this, and what they're all trying to do is figure out a way to exit this peacefully and not embarrass themselves. A lot of face saving going on in this case. The trade war is roiling the markets, but let's calm down on this. This is going to be a short-term thing. April 2nd, more tariffs are expected, and the EU hit the United States with some tariffs, $28 billion in retaliatory tariffs today. So we'll see how everyone reacts to that.
Number 4.
This story has some long-reaching impact. You may need to know the lore, but I'll give you as much as I can. A Mountain Gap middle school teacher was allowed to retire after allegations of him behaving inappropriately as a drag queen and facing allegations of taking his lifestyle into the classroom and performing as Majesty Divine, making sexually suggestive remarks at a drag queen story time. Why do they want to have all these drag queens reading stories? I don't know. Now James Miller is promoting a documentary called Unveiling Majesty, framing it as a story about the resilience of Alabama's LGBTQ community while grifting to raise $30,000 for the film. The fundraising efforts and all this other dumb stuff is out there, but here's what it also does. It gives away the game. He admits to bringing some of this stuff into the classroom, yet he was still able to resign, as school board members told us that wasn't happening.
Number 3.
Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth declared on Tuesday that Senator Tommy Tuberville's potential 2026 gubernatorial bid, hinted at last week, well, for the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you, won't impact his own ambition to run for Alabama governor, a decision he'll finalize after the legislative session ends in May. Now, I wouldn't count Ainsworth out of anything. He was supposed to lose the lieutenant governor's race, and he won there. But he says he is not interested in running for the United States Senate, which I think is a mistake on his part, but I understand it. He cites his kids. He praises Tuberville work, but stressed that he only wants to be governor. He does not want to be a United States senator. So with Governor Kay Ivey, term limited, and other people who are irrelevant to the situation suggesting it, Tuberville is basically the guy who decides how all of this goes. Tuberville's going to dominate the field.
Number 2.
There are multiple tax plans working their way through the Alabama legislature. Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth, just mentioned there, ramped up his campaign Tuesday to erase the state's grocery tax, cheering on State Representative Danny Garrett's legislative package to slash it from 3% to 2%, promising $150 million in annual savings if lawmakers emulate Trump's tax cut leadership. In an op-ed, he insisted the legislature's work is, quote, half complete, end quote, pointing to a study group's blueprint and surplus funds as the path to finish the job, with John Wall, the ALGOP chairman, predicting passage by the 2025 session's end. House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels, Democrat from Huntsville, slammed Alabama lawmakers for letting the state's overtime tax exemption potentially expire, saying it is absurd to sit on their hands instead of acting on that, noting the broad support. So there's a battle going on there.
And now time for the number 1 thing you should be talking about today.
All right, everyone in the media seems to be talking about how much everyone hates DOGE, but polling indicates that is not the case. And Alabama United States Senator Tommy Tuberville and U.S. House member Gary Palmer are both praising DOGE, talking about the impact and how important this is. As I said, Tuberville praised him, said his relentless push through the Department of Government Efficiencies to curb criminal federal spending, observing Musk's heightened resolve after meeting him before some interviews, that despite backlash like X-hacks and attacks on car dealerships, which Tuberville linked to Trump's tariff plan for economic renewal, Tuberville says, hey, Musk cares about this and he's not going to stop. U.S. Representative Gary Palmer, who I mentioned before, told a House Oversight Committee that Elon Musk's DOGE has outdone 40 years of federal oversight in just 6 weeks by leveraging 21st century tech to expose $162 billion in fiscal year 2024 improper payments across 16 agencies, a step he sees as a key to tackling the nation's $2 trillion deficit. And that doesn't even begin to attack the $37 trillion debt. Additionally, Secretary of State Marco Rubio offered to support Elon Musk's DOGE team as well, and noted that he is terminating 83% of U.S. aid programs, 5,200 contracts, claiming that they squandered billions and hurt U.S. interests abroad. So there's a lot going on here. This is a real problem, and it looks like Elon Musk is both the hero and the villain, depending on who you're talking to. So that all exists, and these problems are real, and it's good to see that they are addressing them. Hopefully they'll be able to continue addressing these and make these differences as we move forward. I will also point out, stopgap spending measures, continuing resolutions, that stuff's moving forward. Yeah, I see it. I'm on top of it. I understand it. Let's make sure that it gets through the Senate, because at this point that debate is still ongoing. Right now, though, it is important to note that there is a spending problem, and attacking it is exposing not only that spending problem, but it's also exposing the people who are really, really upset about any cut to anything. And I think we should kind of train our eyes on those individuals. So we'll stay on top of that. And you stay on top of this by getting your questions in for 10 with him, or your comments on any of the 7 things at 866-494-WVNN. We'll talk about a lot today, including Tommy Tuberville. Is he running for governor? Well, we'll ask that guy in just a little bit, because he'll be on the program. So stay tuned. Keep it locked right here on the fastest hour of radio anywhere on your radio dial.
You're listening to News and Views with Dale Jackson.